Welcome back to the absolute most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. We have the final boss in the red. It's Dark. And his eternal nemesis in the blue, Micro Jackson. ByuN. A best of 5 Terran versus Zerg finals between two of the oldest rivals in all of StarCraft 2 history. And I think appropriately, we're starting things off on post-youth. And if that describes you, it'd be awesome if you could like and maybe amble your way over to subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we? Don't editorialize. 1,316 likes on this video, on this cast, on this finals. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I would do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. These two still going at it. I remember the most memorable match for me between ByuN and Dark is that 2016 BlizzCon Finals, where ByuN took it over Dark, and soon after, Reapers were nerfed. I forget if it was the first or the second time ByuN got Reapers nerfed, but he's been working at it still to this day. But starting things off with 3 command centers versus 3 hatch. We got a bit of a macro game on our hands. Usually, you'll have a bit more aggression, maybe some Reapers, the Hellions, the Banshees. But these two know each other so well that most of the time aggression falls incredibly flat and ends up getting you in a tough position. And also, this map has a single ramp leading up to the high ground, which means especially for Terran, but to an extent for Zerg, you have no easy way to attack without committing... Oh, God. Very satisfying to get that Reaper. Dark actually went... Okay, well... I'm gonna say this for the first time this series. It probably won't be the last, but this is the most Dark thing I've ever seen. He kills the Reaper. He's like, I went for speed at a normal time. I'm doing a normal build. 5 hatcheries at 4 minutes. I mean, ByuN, not to be outdone, has his double engineering bay with only 2 barracks and 3 command centers. So it doesn't... This is about as close as you get in professional StarCraft 2 to a no-rush 10-minute game. It won't be 10 minutes. They both will be able to max out by probably 7 or 8. 8, more likely. Especially depending on what they decide to go for. But they're going to sit back, build up, and when they finally clash... And, well, then ByuN just walks out with 6 Marines. Like, Winter, you don't know what you're talking about. 6 Marines is plenty. Okay? You only have 5 units in a MOBA. And they do just fine. So I don't know why 6 Marines can't get the job done. He just waltzes across. Is he going to see anything, though? You can look, but will you see? Because there are 2 other hatcheries. Brenda? Yes, it's just 6 Marines. They don't even have... They don't have any upgrades. I know. I gotta... So, despite, he didn't spot anything. So he was trying to limit. Wow. I mean, I don't know what you expected. And now those Marines are dead. I am, well, I don't recommend that sort of build. I think he was trying to limit the creep, but he didn't scout. Dark takes hatchery number 6. All right, for every time you send a unit out to die, Dark will take another hatch. He's quickly running out of real estate to put those hatches on. There are, 4, 8 or so, 7 bases on each side of the map if we're going to slice it in half, which we're a long way from doing so, but Dark has already taken 6 of them, so, especially including that gold down the center, which is usually hotly contested. Oh, there we go. Just 7 bases. All right, why not? Dark has taken now what could be considered his entire half of the map at the 6-minute mark. And this is another demonstration why usually Terrans don't sit back and let Zerg build up, because then you get a cinematic level of Zerglings and Banelings just overrunning you. The amount of larvae, he doesn't even need to inject anymore. This is effectively the new Brood War mod that's going around, where you just spam the hatcheries and the queens can fly, but no, they still got their joint pain and are responsible for the creep spread and so many other things. Pretty much all the anti-air defense, healing, late game and early game, and that larva production, just general front line. Like, there's a lot. But here comes ByuN. He's got the Marines. He's tucked into a nice little corner there, but the banelings will close in. ByuN so far, 10 Marines, 26 Lings. The Queens are coming down to deal with it. He's not going to get much done to start off. Is there an infestation pit yet for Doc? I think he's going to remedy that in a moment. Go straight for high. ByuN's scouting around. At this point, Dark has taken the map. There's the infestation pit. And we may very well figure out how long it takes to mine out an entire half of the map in record time. Dark at 77 drowns. That 8-minute max out prediction looking a little off because he didn't opt for roaches, but instead is just full macro into Lingbane, which is a little bit lighter on supply because, of course, you build 2 Lings at a time. But you can get so many of them. Another attack. And it looks like Dark's expansion will finally be curtailed just slightly, as one of the hatcheries is forced to be canceled. But here comes Banelings, and they got speed in half a second. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage. Those medevacs had to leave a couple behind, but ByuN has 3 bases. Dark now has 7. That doesn't necessarily mean 8. Well, one of those bases is gold as well. So, I think Dark is just going to be rushing Ultralisks here. +2, finishing for ByuN. Dark only has +2 attack on the way. The Queen's going to be gunned down. 1, 2, and 3. That's all the anti-air, but there's only so much room in one medevac. At least for this patch, but ByuN trying to exert as much control over the map as possible. He's still got a lot of supply here. But at the end of the day, yes, or the beginning of the day, or any part of the day, really, or night. We don't really have a day-night. Not important. Are Marines going to be enough? Okay? That is the question that ByuN keeps trying to answer. Down goes a medevac. There's plenty of Queens around. Oh my god, he has 170 Zerglings. Dark just has 170 Zerglings. And if he wasn't making any Banes, he'd have over 200 Zerglings. This is... Yep. It's a 200 Zergling rush. That's all I gotta say about that. There's not much else to say here. He doesn't have a hive. Well, he does have a hive, but he doesn't have vipers or adrenal glands yet. In fact, forgetting adrenal glands is a big oversight. Every second counts, though he doesn't really have the gas now. Here comes the 200 Zergling timing. +2 attack, finishing in 1 second. There it is. Dark, is it time? ByuN has quite a setup to defend. His army supply is still looking pretty good. Opening up the watchtower. Adrenal glands has begun. And 3-3 is on the way for ByuN. So, Dark not pulling the trigger on the full attack quite yet. But really, there's not too much reason to delay. He has 200 supply, he has 4,000 minerals in the bank, and here we are at 10 minutes, the rush begins. The Marines hold the line, the Banelings crash through, and Zerglings on top of the siege tanks, but trickling through the streets here, they'll get gunned down. And Dark, not able to break through. Not really at all. 4 siege tanks dead, 17 Marines for 113 Zerglings, and 33 Banes. Which, I don't need the math down there to tell me that that did not go particularly well for the final boss. But he has money to spend, and he's willing to be up. Oh my, he's building another command center. Okay, it's going out of style. Want to bank him up for the next game. Once you get to 4 or 5 base economy, you want to have the army supply. You don't want to free up army supply by losing a bunch of Marines to Banelings cheaply, but you want to limit your worker count as much as possible. Mules can fill in some of the income. So I'd say the ideal worker count is like 60 or so SCVs in the late game. You don't want to drop too low because then you're at risk of just not having anyone. You need them. But to compete with the overwhelming attrition-based Zerg, you don't want to have too many SCVs because you simply don't have enough army supply to weather the continued attacks. Vipers hunted down in their own base, but the Parasitic Bomb and the Queens will combine to deal with it. The drops are being sent out and smacked down. Wait, hey, Brenda! There will be blood. No, She hasn't been on. She's had problems since the war. Medevac awaiting a parasitic bomb. The Queen's moving into position. Dark knows it's back there. We'll see if he focuses on it. A siege tank taken down at the watchtower. Ghosts in production. That ultimate late game unit. Parasitic bombs melt through the medevacs. Another one. Down they go. 9 dropper lords. Dark has begun Operation Overlord, and we'll see if he can establish a beachhead in the base of the Terran. And then from there, work on his expanding his way across their territory. Because the Terrans may have grabbed all of this, but the Red Army is willing to spend plenty in order to break it. They will throw waves upon waves against the Marines, against the siege tanks, against the entrenched defenses, because at the end of the day, all that matters is not who wins, but instead who's left. And Dark, with an entire 10 Overlord, busts through a planetary, drops into the main. The snipes on the Overlords try to stop him at the beachhead. The choke point, the Ghost holding it. A single Ghost can tank so many Banelings. 6 or 7 Banelings usually, as they are not light units. Always a little misleading when you see the Banelings attacking him. They are quite a good counter if they're spread out. And these Ghosts making sure to maintain a safe distance. So ByuN, well, Dark has now lost 5,000 more minerals. He's lost about the same amount of gas. That's kind of irrelevant at this point. There are 5 orbital commands, 2 spires on the... No, not for mutas. That's for almost certainly Greater Spire. If Dark does a 17-minute 40 muta switch, well, that's a terrible, terrible idea. But if somehow ByuN decides to go Hellbat Siege Tank and not build any more Ghosts, or Thors, or Vikings, or any of those, then maybe. Putting a planetary blocking out the watchtower. The siege tank is locked in by the planet. I mean, Zerglings can likely get to it, but good luck. Awkward. The workers, a standoff. A truce here. As Dark expands to base number 8, the Ocho. More command centers for ByuN. Dark has already expended 360 Zerglings. He can afford to spend, well, several hundred more at least. Double drop picked up. ByuN is entrenched. Now we fight over the middle bases. The question will be whether Dark actually wants to break ByuN or just try to grab 1 extra base and work off that. Because that is a decision you have to make relatively early on against the mass Ghost, mass missile turret sort of composition. ByuN just... I think all this Brood War action has been inspiring people. Turrets everywhere. The creep is spreading along the right flank. Dark has not been mining gas from too many of his bases, and by that I mean the outlying bases don't have gas. The rest he's mining gas. He has 90 drones against 79 SCVs, so ByuN hasn't yet reached the supreme late game. Will we see nukes? He's adding on more factories. With the slight nerf to Widow Mines, Terran seem to have rediscovered the value of siege tanks, and to great effect. And now a fusion core. Though, battle cruiser, it's not Gumiho. I'm checking. No, it's not Gumiho. So, I think battle cruisers a little bit less than likely, but he's building 2 more starports. Maybe Gumiho's inspired him. As Gumiho has been, well, for pretty much the last decade, charting the course. We've got a nuclear missile. We got 2 more starports on the way, so you can dream. Nukes and battle cruisers as we quickly work our way into the Bronze League Heroes composition. Dark is still 155 Zerglings and 13 Banelings. He needs detection for those ghosts. I'm assuming they have Cloak. Baneling's coming in. He actually picks them up, cloaks the rest. Doesn't lose too many ghosts. The planetary being overrun by the adrenal gland Zerglings. Another hatchery at, I think it was literally 1 HP. Now healed up a bit. A single SCV, both of them leaving a base 1 hit away from death. But at this point, with over 9,800 minerals for Dark, and with over 3,000 minerals for ByuN, a single base, I don't think is gonna make all the difference. Snipes on Banelings. Another planetary. 9 orbital commands. Dark is now mining for both of what is effectively the corners. One of these bases should be claimed by ByuN if we're in a half map scenario. We already got 2-2 in the skies. He's got the ultra upgrades. Oh my god, just sniping Banes. Ghost, not bad. A zoning planetary fortress. Dark. Starting to get a little less hasty about attacking. Some of the ghosts within range of the spore crawler there. The rest of the ghosts. How many ghosts are there? 12 ghosts. What? Are you kidding me? No. What are you doing? No. He's this is no. 31. Dark, you. Good thing I didn't bet any more than my self-esteem on this particular move right here. 32 muta switch, which is going to be scouted by the Ven Trioscan here. So Dark is like, you know what, Winter? You know what the real move is against mass ghost Viking Thor? You just make so many mutalisks they reach their preset kill limit and shut down. I think now I'm confident in saying there's a 70% chance of total utter disaster. A 20% chance that it goes kind of poorly but still does some damage. And a 10% chance Dark is somehow rediscovered the Mutalisk as a late game unit against a player who has 35 missile turrets. And high-sec auto-tracking. And building armor. And mech weapons. And working on plating. And mass ghosts. There's no way. He could kill the turrets, I guess. It might be... But snipes one-shot mutas. I guess this is actually the best way to kill missile turrets. Somewhat counterintuitively, but there's no other unit that can both fight them and get away from the ghosts without taking terrible, terrible damage. So, in some sort of ridiculously convoluted way, the mutas actually make some sense. Well, ByuN is now building. He's run out of space for command centers. I can't believe he's showing late game muta. I'm both excited and also somewhat upset because I can't even play it off like, oh yeah, I'm a genius. I predicted this. I was totally being sarcastic. No, I thought it was a very dumb move to go mutas. But so far, Dark, it kind of works. Like, he's gonna lose 2 or 3 mutas here and there, but if he's able to break these locations, that means he can come in with the rest of the army. 4 ghosts is not enough. He needs the Thors. The Thors are the only direct answer to this. The ghosts individually are not going to take out the flock. The murder of mutas. He's just killing them. Well, there's 6 liber... Oh my god. He's out. Oh my god. Outflanked by missile turrets. Ends up losing... The fight has gone on for 4.5 minutes. He lost 30 mutas. The battle may eventually end. The battle report counts whenever units are lost within like 30 seconds of each other. So it takes about 30 seconds of nobody killing anything, which hasn't happened for almost 5 minutes straight. The Banelings are rolling in. I don't think that's quite enough. Oh my god, he breaks on the planetary, and the SCVs are holding, but he doesn't kill... Oh no. Disaster for Dark. The one unit we haven't seen any of. Infestors. Dark holds down the 50 banelings. This is madness. No, this is Dark. Well, he's coming in for another round. He's still got money in the bank. He's trying to keep ByuN from actually mining from these bases. That is the goal. To eventually limit his economy well enough that he can win the war of attrition. And so far, Dark does have more in the bank, and he hasn't lost so much. Like... Oh, here are the Ultras. Why are there Thors here? They just wandered out onto the field, and now they'll die in darkness indeed, as the blinding clouds limit their ability to do anything, and the Ultras chew through the rest. The turrets will take out the Vipers as they move a little too far forward. Here come the Mutas trying to get involved. Banelings underneath, Ultras as well, chewing through the Thors. Liberators, though, pin-cushioning the Ultras, and all but one will die. The Mutas still zoned out by the turrets. And ByuN, 25 more Mutas! No, it doesn't make any sense. But I haven't... There is no other unit composition that can potentially outmaneuver the Ghosts. He just killed the Thors. It's quite a call. Alright, I'm a millennial. I don't pick up calls. But if I did... well, this would certainly be the one to do so. Just... what? Yeah, Mutas were the answer all along. Well, he's playing it like that Wings of Liberty style Zerg, where you just continually throw whatever unit they're least prepared for. Oh my god, that planetary. 23 kills. This one, 33. Alright, the Mutas! I can't believe it! There are not many things that will legitimately surprise me in this day and age. Alright, after this many thousands of games. I may have cast at least a couple hundred of Dark versus ByuN just in the last couple years. And I've never seen this. The latest game muta. Just full tech switch. This is well, part of the issue is, with 28 ghosts on the field, if you get anywhere close to them, the mutas have to turn around immediately. This is happening. Of course it is. But he isolated a few of the ghosts. He needs at least half as many as there are mutas. If there aren't, well, the Liberator's also getting involved, but magic boxing a bit. The longer he sticks around, though, the more opportunity for the ghost to line up the shots. Oh my god. Some of you, many of you, possibly all of you may die. But that is a risk, and that is a possibility that Dark will embrace. He's lost 60 Mutalisks. He's lost way... Oh no. He's making 24 more, and he still has money. He is winning the war of attrition. Neither player knows exactly how much money the other has. That is the big question mark. Is it worth it to attack this base and potentially spend X or Y units that cost gas? Is it worth it to just sit back and defend? The mutas on top of the ghosts. And they can't line up their shots because the damage is being interrupted. The snipe. The Liberator's being used for their original purpose as an original side purpose as an anti-air unit, which we haven't seen since that 2016 era. But he's just magic boxing on top. Only +1 ship weapons. And the mutas are overwhelming the Liberators. He doesn't have the upgrades. ByuN notices now. Immediately on losing that fight, starts +3 plating and +2 ship weapons. Yeah. Yeah. Correct diagnosis, Dr. ByuN. Your units suck a little too much. Well, 3 Thors. The Liberators, Hellbats. My god. Dark has not built one infestor. He knows they exist. But I think, therefore I am. But also, waiting until that final moment, if he needs them. He's winning the war of attrition. ByuN doesn't have money. I can't believe the mutas were the right call. Don't try this at home. Just don't try this ever. It's such a wrong move that it became right again. It rolled all the way around. 79 mutas dead. 24 on the field. 7 more in production. 26 in the bank. And targeting the tanks. And ByuN is clearly kind of scrambling for a response. The ghosts are supposed to solve everything. Okay? Like the ghosts, you're just supposed to build ghosts, build 69 turrets. Boom. There you go. That's how you win TVZ. But apparently not. 34 ghosts have died. There's still 16 on the field. The incomes are slowing down as the amount of mineral patches is drying up. Only those contested bases, which Dark has mined more. He's mined 8,000 more minerals and 4,000 more gas so far. My god, he just easily one-shotting even those armored turrets. I don't know how many mutas it takes, but it's less than 30 plus 3. Plus 2 ship weapons is now done for the Liberators. And, well, the mutas getting chased down. Dark looking to swing into the left flank again. I think he's making these calculations of, is it worth it to break a base? Or do I just hold on to the ones I have? As he doesn't... Oh, 23 Baneling says he wants to break something. Oh my. There's the bio ball. The Thor Ghost army. Dark is going into the main. This is risky business here. He could easily get cornered. Mutas are dangerous creatures. The Liberators are closing in. The Ghost can't easily traverse this. He may be able to magic box, and he goes for it. He goes for the split. The Liberators try to target the center mass, but the mutas are whittling down their number. Oh my god, Dark absolutely jumps off a cliff supply-wise. He's down to 110. He busts through the base on the right, but ByuN sent the ground army to the left, and there aren't that many mutas left in the main. There's 13 mutas in total, 21 more in production. But was that too much? ByuN. Dark is out of gas. There's 400 gas in this guy. Wait. 400. Yeah, we're counting. We're at that stage. All right. We're just counting. So Dark right now has relatively easy access to about 800 more gas. ByuN, 6, 12. He has another 2,400 or so. Those contested center bases are going to be the deciders. If Dark can hold on to them, but Dark now desperately needs to mask the fact that he's completely out of gas. Unfortunately, if he gets these, he can't be timid now. He needs to show ByuN. He needs to act like he has so much money that he can just do whatever he wants. ByuN, you have to take a risk, get down here. But we know, from our perspective, that Dark is playing with no cards in his hand. All the cards are on the table right now. He's almost all in. Oh, he wanted those Thor so badly. But the ghosts were too close. So Dark is really trying to sell the idea that he can still crush ByuN's army. But ByuN has 126 army supply, and Dark can't even build 2 more mutas right now. This base getting hit again, the magic box, but lines up the shots with the ghosts. The Banelings will roll in and take out the ghosts, though. Hellbats, the army distracted in this fateful fight. The ghosts will be taken down. The supplies tied right around 100. And while the wars have been fought with thousands of resources, with hundreds of units, now there's nothing. And just like that, there's nothing left. There's no more income. ByuN, I guess he has a couple mineral patches over here. About 1,000 minerals total. What's left? What survived? 13 mutas. 53, now 61 zerglings. 3 queens. There's 4 medevacs, 8 hellbats, 9 liberators, 2 siege tanks, 1 marauder, 7 ghosts, and a partridge in a pear tree. He's magic boxing the mutas. Well, not really. He's just trying to dance out of the splash damage. The numbers are thinning on both sides. Well, they're going to take each other out at this rate. Transfuse turns it around. He's not looking. And the queen's getting involved. He's going to get the liberators. And the mutas will just barely survive. Where's the orbital command going? How many orbitals are left? It's going to be down to 4. Dark is mining again, but ByuN, they are now as far apart as you could ever be. As the going gets tough, well, the tough have gone to opposite corners. As the next round will be the final one. This has been the most even battle with Dark mining 10k more and 3k more gas. He's lost 995 zerglings. We're gonna make it 1,000. I think we'll get there. All right, well, the mutas, the only anti-air, well, he's back to Marines. That's what he didn't have. ByuN's back to Marines. Which, you know, that's his comfort zone, but Dark will mine the rest of the gas. Lings and Banes overrunning the production. Dark is big. I can't believe the answer was actually mute. It's not over. But this is certainly... The mutas have gotten so much more than I ever dreamed. It was more of a nightmare seeing those mutas in production. I thought Dark would get absolutely crushed, but apparently, well, we're gonna have to adjust our expectations. It's still a rough scenario. As ByuN has ghosts, he has Marines, but we're back to... There are 94 zerglings on the field. He can overrun those ghosts. The hellbats are completely necessary here. Another command center dead. Down to 3 orbitals. And if he runs out of orbitals, both burrowed Lings and burrowed Banes become a play yet again. I don't know if those gas geysers have anything left in them. Well, the factory will burn. Add it to the list. Banelings rolling in, but the Hellbat... Oh, he spot the Hellbats. The Hellbats don't have vision, so they didn't notice. How many ghosts are left? Still 7. He's lost 50 ghosts. I don't think I've ever seen that many ghosts die. Ever. In any... Oh my god, the Banelings! How did they get... Oh, he drew them away with the mutas. He wasn't looking that way. Alright. Well, ByuN has nothing in production. He still has a little bit of money. He chooses some more Hellbats. Apparently he's removed the Widowmine key from his keyboard. It is a bit late. Even getting drilling claws. He's mining the mineral wall, which is another 80 minerals. Alright. It's more of a free gift card than it is a real source of income. But technically, there are 80 more minerals in that mineral wall, so... And we're in a game where the minerals from the mineral wall may make the difference, which is madness. 87,000 versus 77,000 resources destroyed. There's only like 20k more left for each. Between the buildings and the units, I don't even know the hotkeys for the tabs for that stuff. Oh my. Okay, in total spending, Dark has spent over 100,000 resources on his army. Whereas ByuN has spent a lot more on the various tech. I'm not sure what we're defining tech as versus economy. I think that is buildings like factories, and it may even include missile turrets and all that. I think economy is pretty exclusively bases and workers. Yeah, I never bring this tab up because it's never particularly relevant, as the races are kind of split in how they spend in general. But here we can clearly see the investment. Thor's Hellbats. The fake dropper lords have been rediscovered. He's pretending there are banelings in there, and there's no way for ByuN to know there weren't. The threat is there. So, 140 supply apiece. Dark is long-distance spotting with 18 drones, the last gas over here. There's not enough orbitals to just be map hacks scanning across the entire field anymore. Baneling mines. Interesting scan there. Maybe just making sure there are no baneling mines that he's trying to... So, sometimes you'll poke in with the mutas, try to drag the bane mines, drag him into bane mines. Well, I do think we are at that time where I do have to mention, in order to win a game of StarCraft 2, you must destroy all your opponent's buildings. Rarely does that become the infestor. One infestor to rule them all. One fungal to bind them. One spellcaster to unburrow. And with dark controlling, win the game. So close. The finishing move. And 2 infestor. We'll see if the supply touches 200 again. The creep spread is starting slowly but surely to encroach on ByuN's side. He's at the point where well, once there are no minerals left, then all the energy can be spent on scans. But at this point, usually you clear the creep in order to successfully and efficiently attack bases. Oh my. I didn't realize. So Dark has been following the script of dramatic foreshadowing, apparently, in this game. I said he hadn't touched the infestor until he really needed it. Well, he literally has no gas to build any more than 2 infestors and a neural parasite. Maybe 1 more. So, that is about as late as it can ever get. His last drops of Vespene gas are being drizzled on these infestors. Like, I'm imagining like icing on a cinnamon bun. The Vespene gas. But you have to keep it very cold, which the infestors don't like, so it just kind of slips off. What am I talking about? Well, 167 to 164. I don't know the last time a unit was lost. For 30 minutes, 25 minutes straight. Dark especially, but they both just threw units at each other. 1,035 Zerglings. 134 Mutalisks. 13 Ultras were in there. 130 Banelings. But now, they're both very aware of the economic situation, all right? The real estate market isn't what it once was. All the good mineral patches have been taken up. Remember, Dark He's asking for a draw, isn't he? That has to be what that is. There's no reason to be talking at this point. Well, if Dark was winning, he'd be trash talking. But for our Korean friends in the comments, they're talking about supply and units. I gotta check. They agreed to a draw. That's what happened. They just agreed. Wow. You're telling me after 42 minutes of all this, we're gonna do it again? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's a draw. I checked from the messages sent after, like, sending these games. So, Dark and ByuN, there will be no victor. After 40 minutes, the score is 0-0. I think they were telling each other the position they were in. This is a major tournament. This is the 50th anniversary, 50th week of the Korean StarCraft 2 League. 5 more info in the description. I believe Dark versus ByuN might have been the first one as well. These two, like, yeah. Game 2 is on post-youth. Well, game 1.1. They've switched sides. I don't. Unfortunately, we don't get the dramatic draw screen. But well, welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with a player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. In the red, the final boss. It's Dark. And at the top right, we have the blue Terran player, his nemesis, Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. And we're starting things off again on post-youth in a best-of-5 Terran versus Zerg finals. And if that map name describes you, it'd be awesome if you could like and subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,300 and yes, we're adding one more. That counts as an entire series. 1,317 likes on this finals, on this cast. I'll cast another one. It's like Groundhog Day. And I'll probably do it anyways. Until the madness takes me. But hopefully, it'll take you as well. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Hi. So, players, the only thing we were denied was the stalemate timer. Which, if neither player is mining or building units, the only reason it's so rare, it's unclear. Some tournaments don't even have rules for it, but I'm pretty sure it was a gentleman's agreement there that they both agreed the game would probably be fought to a standstill, where neither player could reliably kill the other's buildings. So it's very likely Dark. I'm just upset about the infestors. All right, I think there was an opportunity with the infestors there, but honestly, it's probably a smart move from both players to take the draw in that scenario or risk throwing. I guess we'll do it again. Well, game number 1.1. Oh, God, I gotta shake off the impending madness and just try to reset here. Is Brenda? Deja vu? We've just been in this place before. Susan, we're always in this place. There's no other early defense. 3 CC against 3 hedge. You know, if they weren't on opposite sides of the map, this would be impossible. I'd lose my mind. Thankfully, at least we have some semblance of a difference. And this time around, instead of going for straight up 3 CC, ByuN is building units. Dark is going for a roach timing as well. He's got 7 sloaches on the way. He's a bit supply blocked. Not sure how much this is to do damage, but instead to strike fear in ByuN's heart and start the aggression early. The 2 Hellions and a Reaper will run by. Did he only make 2? Yep. And then he went straight into mass marine production. Of course he did. Double engineering bay. We're going to end up in a slightly different spot than in the simulation that I barely remember. As Dark opens up with roaches instead of Lingbane, ByuN a little bit slower on the upgrades on the 3rd CC in favor of having way more Marines and a little bit of poking and prodding with the Hellions. So a lot less greed and more aggression to start things off. Dark has that gold base mining. The Queens are coming down to defend. There's almost no creep here. Well, there's no creep tumors at all, just the hatch itself. But Stim is done. But with this many Queens, the sheer biomass of that army, too much to deal with. Well, +1/+1 now on the way for ByuN. A dozen drones in production for Dark, who now triple guess. He's going to be going for mass roaches. We'll see how many Ravagers he throws into the mix. The double drop from ByuN, he picks up and he heads straight towards the main, where the mixed gold base is. So many gold mineral patches to work with here. Gets poked away, and we'll settle for taking out an Overlord and maybe clearing the creep over to the right flank. There we are. I can't believe, like, it's crazy to me that they're like, all right, it's a draw, let's do it again. And then they both go for crazy macro builds. The mental fortitude of these two. They both played going on, if not over 10,000 professional games, so... You know, a 40-minute game is not the life-changing event it might be to some of us who play maybe 40 minutes a year. So, but still, you're like, why don't we just play another full-on macro game? What could go wrong? We could be here literally all night or day. It doesn't matter at this rate. The Ravagers, Corrosive Bile. He tried to get both the rocks and the medevacs in the radius. Didn't end up happening, but a laudable attempt. The creep is most of the way across the map. Dark is up 50 supply, but this time around, it's the Roach Ravager. He's working his way through. I think this is going to end up helping ByuN more than Dark. Now, having those rocks taken down really opens up an opportunity for the Roach Ravager to get the damage done. Another wave of Ravagers. I guess this does count as something of an all-in. As Dark only has 67 drones, he's got no infestation pit, he's got no follow-up to this, but he does have 200 supply, and he's gonna try to smash down ByuN's front line. There are multiple bunkers, there are 3 tanks and counting, plus 2 attack is on the way, but here comes Dark. He could just go up the ramp. Like, if he breaks down this door, the rest of the army is swinging in from the south side, a little bit late on the draw, though. And ByuN has committed most of his ground forces into dealing with the right side, which exposes the tanks to the left. ByuN guns down the Roaches and Ravagers with relative ease. A 4th command center going to be taken out. A severe delay on the economy. The Marines and Marauders will come back to defend, and Dark not actually able to kill very many SCVs at all. He covers his retreat with the Corrosive Bile, but not able to close the distance on the third base, and that means ByuN actually still has a 6-worker lead. Firing off the Biles, trying to land it. ByuN just stimming forward. The Roaches and Ravagers are melting under the combined firepower of the Marines and Marauders with the medevacs to support. Dark's economy, though, with the gold base pumping out units, he doesn't need that many drones. If ByuN steps too far forward away from his siege tanks, Dark will win the war of attrition. There's only 5 wrecks. He's getting 6, 7, and 8 now. Dark doesn't have an infestation pit. He's not completely all in. He's getting 2-2. He does have another hatchery on the way, but he really does need to get the damage done as soon as possible. Throws out a wave of Corrosive Bile, but ByuN cutting through the heart of the swarm and taking out most of the Ravagers before the fight can progress much further. +2 infantry weapons about to complete, and I think that has to be the end of the attack, at least for a little while. At least until Dark is able to even up those upgrades. Sensor tower. Medevacs are nearly out of energy, and he has 8 of them, which is an impressive feat. Between the stims and the Roach Ravager, the bio having a tough time. Hopefully they have good life insurance policies. Another group of Roach Ravager hitting the 4th base, which is on what most would consider the normal 3rd base location. Dark is maxed out yet again. +2 ranged attack, +2 carapace. Where's the infestation pit? He's gonna try to batter him down again. ByuN has 2-2, Dark has 2-2. If the Corrosive Biles, they get a chunk. And here comes Dark onto the 3rd. A wave of Lings to try to draw the tank fight. And just buy some time. He takes out more tanks. But again, ByuN swings in with the bio and sweeps away the Roach Ravager. He loses a few SCVs, but at the end of the day, has more than enough to continue tearing through the front. Infestation pit on the way. 48 Zerglings in production, but now it's ByuN's turn. The Corrosive Biles will zone him off the ramp. And the bio comes back to regroup. Caduceus Reactor would be quite a solid investment, considering how much work these medevacs are putting in. And here comes Dark again. The Ravager Ling looking to bust through. Another tank will be taken down. ByuN just swimming through the Corrosive Biles and somehow getting out untouched. Backs off one flank. SCVs have to be pulled. Dark seems to have broken through. Another wave of Corrosive Bile, almost forcing the orbital to burn. Another wave might actually take it out if ByuN isn't diligent about repairing it. In fact, he's supply blocked at 160 over 156, which means Dark can refill. He's got a hive on the way. He's got a Baneling nest started. And while he kind of stalled out his tech for a while, he's catching up quickly. And the Ravager count is ridiculous. 20 of them. Somehow, ByuN is dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging again. And evading much of the Corrosive Bile, but it's almost impossible to go untouched. Dark's spray and pray build, finding eventual success. As he's... Oh, another wave of Zerglings! Catches as there's barely any Marines left. It's almost entirely Marauders. Not well suited to deal with the Lings. More Corrosive Biles to zone out. ByuN down to 128 supply. 2 Vipers in reduction. I can't believe they're doing this again. I can, but... My God. $14 SCVs dead. Dark, not at a huge economy himself. He's only got 73 drones, but, well, he's almost mined out of the gold. He's down to 3 patches. ByuN still bottled up, but Ghosts in production. A ghost going to be gracing the field. Server lag. Anyone else? Alright, maybe just... The players don't seem to be complaining. If there was any lag, I don't think ByuN would be able to dodge corrosive biles like Neo. So far, holding it together. These are some of the most micro-intensive compositions these two have been building. That was for me, too. But we do it live. Alright. The only lag is in my brain. I can't really help that. I try, though. EMPs land, but not enough of them. Still get some parasitic bomb onto the medevacs. Melts through a couple. Many of them have been clipped by corrosive bile at some point, which puts them in range of dying to parasitic bomb. A wave of banelings. Does he have bane speed? Yes. These are the first banelings. As he slowly but surely transitions into that Lingbane composition. We're just waiting for the double spire. We're not quite at that point yet. Four ghosts. There's already plenty on the field, and the Rapagers stray a little too far forward. Things slowing down as Dark is deciding which base he really wants to focus on. As we're at the point where ByuN's army is strong enough that if Dark doesn't commit to an attack, these units are just going to get annihilated. Between the siege tanks and the ghosts, once the ghosts are in high enough number, you have to make a decision. You can no longer kind of dip in and out of the attack. You have to go all the way or not at all. Oh my! The SCV micro and the banelings getting cut down by the tanks on the high ground means that ByuN holds on. Our corrosive biles knock out a siege tank. Mass spine crawler. I mean, Dark has money in the bank. Doesn't need too much here as long as he's somewhat careful. Taking a little longer to expand to his entire half the map, but he's gonna get there. Infestors, a neural parasite, and a spire on the way as we fill in the rest of the tech tree. And here we are again. Three infestors. Neural parasite good, though. Probably not. If he can EMP the ghosts, of course, with the ghosts, that is possibly the best counter to ghosts on the field right now. So many barracks. If they call for a draw at this point, I'm going to be very upset. That was one of the most, like, early late-game draws I've ever seen. And, well, I've only seen, like, low double-digit draws ever. That's how rare they are. Most of the time, it's when the map is clearly mined out. I don't think I've seen one anywhere recently where both players were still technically mining, but these two know each other so well and have this sort of, like, frenemies level of trust, if you've ever seen them go back and forth with the banter. So if they agree to it, so that last game, just going back for a moment, that last iteration of Post-Youth could have gone on another 15 minutes until we decided whether or not it was actually a draw. And honestly, I think not a small chance of ending up there, considering ByuN could have defended his buildings, especially the flying ones, and Dark likely would not have lost any fights on creep. So what happens is we're just at an impasse, which is why they agreed to one, I have to assume. Corruptors on the way. The siege tanks. Another attack was rebuffed. The shift Q corrosive bound knocks out the tank of the watchtower. Another bio army looking to catch it. No infestors to hold him down. Throws out corrosive bile. We'll take out another tank. Infestors popping up. Gets a fungal. EMP is a little late on the draw. Chains it together. And now we got 10 Broodlords in production. Broodlords possibly the only unit. Well, Broodlords and Corruptors possibly the only units we didn't see. Besides Swarm Hosts, even accidentally. In our warm-up game. So Dark trying the full siege route instead of mass muta. I'm still not 100% sold on the mutas, even though it kind of worked. They're so costly. The Broodlord's unleashing waves of broodlings. And the Ghost, does he have cloak? No. 10 seconds out. And some of those Ghosts really hurting for it. Another army. Should be able to get the hatch. Well, here comes the Ravager Baneling. Should be able to target it in time, though. Gets it. Should be rebuilt almost immediately, but... The Broodlords find a planetary. Will unleash waves of broodlings. Are there any Corruptors left? Did he morph every Corruptor into Broodlords? Mech weapons level 3. The Broodlings themselves drawing the tank fire. That is part of why Broodlord's so great against the siege tanks, as they use the siege tanks as an unconsenting ally. More fungals, trying to make any purchase here. Vikings closing in, but the Queens? Hold it together, ladies! We forgot to bring any Corruptors again! It's back to us! We're the only real anti-air unit! There were no Hydras or Lurkers last game, were there? Well, there's actually a lot of units that Dark did not build last game. The more Roaches are... In fact, he built barely any units at all. Now that I think about it. That was a pretty dumb comment. Jimmy, go edit that out. Dark successfully containing ByuN yet again. Will ByuN be able to break out? This is a much less mobile army. Dark not going to be able to abuse the mobility like he did with the mutas. Broodlord's quick enough to slide back and forth between it here. But once he commits to a fight, he's stuck in it. The Viking's gonna try to zone out. Parasitic Bomb. Quarantines one Viking. And then flies back. A bit of a mistake there. May take out a... Oh, almost gets a medevac. More Vikings on the way. High-sec auto-tracking. We got building armor coming in. The third base is out of minerals. The gas is drying up as well. But Dark is holding it down. Gets a lot of the Vikings. And the bio army underneath. Here come the Banelings. Siege tanks not able to do enough before the Ghosts are taken out. A wave of corrosive bile hits the back line. And Dark is holding it together for now. A wave of Corruptors is coming up. Desperately needed to help with the Broodlords. But there's not much of a ground army underneath. EMPs on all the infestors. Snipes lined up. And while Dark had a good start to the fight, ByuN has turned it around quickly. The Queens still drawn in. Still dealing with the Vikings. They take down 2 or 3 more. And ByuN pushes Dark back. But not all the way. He didn't have nearly enough to continue that across the field. ByuN actually only has 45 SCVs, but Dark only has 160 supply. Which, considering he has all the bases on his half the map, is a bit concerning. Only 130 gas. He's building 6 more Broodlords. The Broodlords have been working, but have they been working well enough? Building armor's done. Honestly, it kind of feels like some exhaustion here, especially compared to the warm-up game. This is a more typical speed of Terran versus Zerg. That first iteration, pre-post youth, was a significantly more action-packed than even some of your Clem versus Raynor games, which are about as many units as you could ever lose in rapid succession. And at this point, you're playing for 2 games. We're not going to count it as 2 games. I'm reasonably sure we're not going to count it as 2 games. But you really don't want to lose this one. Over an hour of work at this point. And ByuN's army is a little better, but he doesn't have the money in the bank, and because he doesn't have access to these bases, means Dark gets the initiative. He can choose where to fight, and he can choose where to kill the ghosts, and that's the most important thing overall. Getting the ghosts and breaking down the army composition to a point that the Broodlords can do the rest of the work. And he's successfully holding on. Because ByuN only has 1 base, that's an anvil that the Broodlords can smash the Terran army up against. But only if he's able to keep ByuN contained. Seven Corruptors. He's leaning all the way into the Broodlords. His +3 air attack. He's already got 3/3 melee and Carapace for the Broodlings, and for the Zerglings, and for the Banelings. He'll be maxing out the upgrades. ByuN doesn't. He only has +1 plating for the mech arm, which I don't think it's so much an oversight as he's actually out of gas, which is crazy. Here we are again. At this stage, I think it would only be appropriate for whichever player is clearly losing, if we get to that point, to ask for a draw. Knowing these two, it'll probably happen either way. I think Dark has a better position, but a few good EMPs and 1 bad fight, and that changes very quickly. Another base attempted, but Dark already has plenty of units up there again, putting together a Scorcher to hold everything together. A hatchery. All right, focus up. Even I'm struggling here. Not that that's a crazy thing, but God. The Infestor's on the high ground. Neural Parasite, a bold move with no cover. But the Thors are a great counter to Thors. And he turns it. And Dark's Thors are obliterating the ghosts. They're killing each other. And with the Thors no longer the backbone of the army. The Thors and the anvil of the planetary. Dark just turned the tide there. It was trending in his direction, but now the floodgates have opened. And if ByuN can't start bailing out here soon, it's 200 to 1 set. This is much more the late game that you expect to see in this matchup, especially if the Zerg has had map control for so long. And here we are. Thors in the top left with the ghosts. ByuN trying to expand. Has an opportunity to land. A planetary's taken out. But ByuN is not maxed out, where Dark has money in the bank and he can rebuild quickly. There's 15 ghosts on the field. Well, that number's dropping very quickly here as the Banelings goes in. A command center is being hit by spore crawlers on its way across the entire map. Its cross-country trip being cut somewhat short. The spore crawlers moving forward. The Broodlord count 17. And Blinding Cloud. Fungal. Wombo combo. That ain't Falco. ByuN cannot keep up with the Zerg swarm. And now Dark, after a feature-length set of games on Post-Youth, is poised to take victory in Game 1. He needs to hold it together. A much more pragmatic, a much more careful composition. But ByuN was just crumbling under its weight. The sheer mass of Broodlords. There's 5 Vikings, 15 ghosts. Those 15 ghosts are still the defining characteristic of ByuN's army. Snipes onto the queens, knocking them out. A wave of creep going forward. Dark has aggressively expanded on the base he just claimed. Still a siege tank at the watchtower. The Broodlords maneuvering. They are fully upgraded, both in the skies and with the broodlings on the ground. Dark only has 43 drones. That means his army supply is massive. And that's not the only thing massive about him. Also, his prize winnings. That's what, yeah. Over $1 million. And looking to add a little more. It might be one step... Oh, well, the snipes. I'll be very careful about it. Losing a critical mass of Broodlords means that ByuN can come marching across the map, and most importantly, he can mine again. If he's able to win a decisive fight, ByuN will be mining from 2 bases, which means he can rebuild the Ghosts, rebuild the Thors, rebuild the Vikings. And even if Dark rebuilds this same army, dealing with a ByuN on even money is not the place he wants to be. There are 8 orbitals. He can drop mules across the board and continue scanning. He needs to be dropping mules. I actually don't know why he's not. Scanning for the army. Spine crawlers at the front. Another planetary fortress at the, we're gonna call it 10:48 p.m. Not sure that's how clock positions work. Position. Dark, waiting. I'm surprised he's not making a play for that top left corner. He has grabbed ByuN's base, which still has much of the gas and many of the minerals remaining. I can't believe they're willing to go to these lengths again. Like, Dark has the advantage, but there's still the threat of a draw. It's still there. Again. I don't think I've ever... There may have been one game, one series, I think it was Pult versus Strange, where we had 2 draws in a row. I feel like there are some years we go without a draw in professional games. But here we are. Dark knocking on the door. What does ByuN have to answer? 16 ghosts. There's 22 Hellbats, mostly for just tanking. Queens, taking the hits. Fungals off the mark. Gets another brood sniped off. That's everything ByuN has. Fungal. Misses. That Fungal's huge. That's massive. Throws out another one. Here come the Banelings. There goes ByuN. A critical mass of ghosts just melted as the Banelings roll in. Following the Fungals. Takes down the Vikings. The Broodlords raining down. And there's not enough left. There's just not enough. He can build Zerglings at this point. Another couple ghosts. And Dark takes the second game and goes up 1-0. Only 32 minutes this time. Didn't even get that close to mining out the map. All right. Well. And that settles game 1. We're going into Crimson Court for game 2-ish. However you want to count it. I was trying to come up with something profound to say, but we're just going to move into game 2. And, feel free to pause the video. All right, like and subscribe while you're there. Get some water. Get some popcorn. We're not done. We're just getting started. Crimson Court, also known for some dramatic, drawn-out games. Probably our second most turtly map in the entire map pool, which is quite filled with maps that allow you to sit back and defend. But ByuN in the bottom left in the blue. Dark in the top right in the red. At least for this version. Going to take down the mineral wall in order to be able to take the third base in a timely manner. Because Reapers are the devil. And we beat the devil. Either economically, physically, emotionally, ideally all three. Right? Because we don't make mistakes. Just happy little accidents. Here's the Reaper. He's gonna check for the mineral wall. He sees it. He knows that Dark is gone for that third. So we've been downgraded or upgraded, depending on who you ask. There's only 2 sets of rocks. There's no longer a double or triple thick set of rocks between the bases. Just your normal, good old-fashioned Dustin Browder approved set of rocks. It's been downgraded from 6 to 4 and now 2. Because who would have thought that having 4,000 HP of rocks between you and anything but going straight down the mid lane would make for a bit of disjointed gameplay. Well, the Reapers. Brenda bouncing. The Queen's getting knocked around, but still more than enough with some creeps right in between. Where are you going? Come back here. There's no gas at all. Just Reapers to start. He's going to follow it up, of course, with Marines. Stim should be joining production momentarily. The Queens with the creep spread. And the Reapers not going to bother trying to deal with it. There's the Stim. And Roachborn at the back. Dark finding more success with the Roach Ravager than he did with the Mass Lingbane. Though showing a lot of proficiency with both. Meanwhile, ByuN, he's got Marines, he's got Stim, we're going to have some medevacs. What else do you really need? Siege tanks are always nice on this map. Picks off a creep tumor. Queens, politely yet firmly encouraging those Reapers to leave, and the Reapers, ever rude, will not do so. Cloak Banshee. So playing it very safe, or looking to do some sort of off-tempo timing. But the Cloak Banshee is certainly a different vibe and a different response than the double medevac drop. You need the Queens, you need the detection. Thankfully for Dark, he's going for the quick lair instead of a double Evo Chamber build. So that means he should have detection ready. Creep Tumor's getting sniped off. Brenda, do they ever stop doing that? Will they just calm down for a moment? They never do, Susan. They never do. Well, shit. I don't... Cloak Banshee coming across. Double engineering bay behind? Is Dark gonna go mutas again? He's getting those double evos. I guess there's a chance of a mass Roach Ravager build as well to try to smash the third. He spots the Banshee. Cloak is still decently far off, and that means there's going to be an Overseer. There's going to be Spore Crawlers in time. So he's going to be ready. At least physically. Here come the double medevacs. Dark is up to 68 drones. He's really taken some liberties here. He's gotten completely away with it. Here are the Banshees. There's no Hellions. Did he get any Overseers? A bit of a misstep there, but as long as the Queens are the ones being targeted, there's no Spore! Will ByuN realize it? Will it matter? A little late on the transfuse. Overseer's on the way. Gonna chop down several drones. Ends up getting 5. And trying to snipe off some of the Queens, so evening up the score on the worker count dramatically, but Dark not to be outdone. 18, 19 drones in production. And that will shoot him back up over 70, but he has to make sure he's actually building units. There's a Spire. I keep looking. The production tab has been quite a crazy thing throughout this entire series so far. The timing of everything for Zerg is the most important. And Dark is constantly defying expectations. Spire, quite a bold choice with this medevac timing coming up. It makes sense if you feel like you have enough on the ground to whittle down the Marines and then clean up the medevacs. But it's also a big risk because the mutas, Source, just trust me, bro, because apparently Dark makes mutas work no matter what, but the mutas are just a costly effort compared to Hydras or even just rushing high. I mean, the major benefit, of course, is killing medevacs. Those perpetually annoying, slippery medevacs that ByuN is possibly the best at can be shut down directly by the mutas. And 10 of them on the way. Well. +2 for both sides. In fact, well, I take it back. Just +2 melee for Dark. And there's the Carapace, just making sure I'm incorrect, no matter when I say it. That's what it is. That's exactly what's happening. Not just being, trying to get the gas after spending on all those mutas. +1 flyer on the way. Has he seen the Spire? No. Oh my god. The only spot he hasn't gotten vision between the Banshees, and there's no turret at all. There's absolutely nothing here. Oh no! Well, ByuN has 80 SCV, so losing 4 is not an economic disaster. But Dark is just fighting. He's just ready to fight with the mutas. And I love it. It's stressing me out, but like in a fun way, which is just essentially a tagline for StarCraft in general. "21 banelings, just straight up mutilating bang. No infestation pit. We got some Widow Mines. Dark has taken down, well, he's taking down the rocks on ByuN's side. There's no way to attack in easily here. Is there drilling claws? Widow Mine connects on some. He's breaking out the Widow Mines to deal with the mutilating bang. Infestation pit in production. Dark is coming through the rocks. Does ByuN? The rocks are just slightly out of sensor tower range.
Additional supply
If those little Zergling arms or hands, whatever they have, I think they're arms or claws. Actually, what are they? And I know in StarCraft 1 they kind of look like hands. Anyways, now he's gonna see it. Those dots on the screen. As the Zerglings have opened up this path, there's a whole bunch of Roach Baneling, but so many Marines that the Banelings will get gunned down before they can even close the distance. The Mutas in towards the center base. Lings and Banes towards the third. The wall is down! What's the point of it? The Banelings are rolling in. The Marines are tucking it as well. And, well, the Banelings don't do anything. But, towards the center, we now have more Roachling Bane. He's forced to pull the orbital into the sky and help the SCVs away. Dark trying to smash the economy. Kills 15 SCVs. And the key part of this is that there was no counter damage. There was no sort of drop. There was no killing drones. There was no trading out a hatchery. Dark did the damage and now it can rebuild. So ByuN is still on defense. He knows how important it is to get some counter damage done, even though he still has 77 to 74 workers. He doesn't know that Dark... I mean, both of them have huge economies. Dark, on the other hand, just started his hive. He's on more of a timer than ByuN, because these 3-3 upgrades, which are currently being attacked by the mutas, which should not be killed, but he's looking the other way. Widowmine not quite taken out here, and a big hit onto the Zerglings, but still going to be able to overrun a lot of the Marines and Marauders. Another Widowmine hit, thinning out the Lynx. The Bio army is getting pushed back. Throws up the corrosive bow, gets into the mineral line, counterattack though, gunning down the queens. The move command forward. ByuN, if he can hold back at home, he's getting a lot of damage done, but he's lost 39 SCVs. The Spire could be taken out. The drones could be targeted. He's going straight for the heart of the swarm, where Dark pulls back to defend. He killed the 4th command center, but at what cost at home? He's lost 23 drones. After several minutes of hemming and hawing and going back and forth, they both land body blows, but neither, I think, with a decisive victory. Overall, though, Dark, he has money in the bank, so he can rebuild, but ByuN still has a bio army with 3-3 finishing up, and Dark may have strayed too far into the Terran base without enough back at home to defend. So this swings the pendulum all the way back, and it's time for ByuN, as he's absolutely tearing through. The Widow Mines at point-blank range on the Banelings. Clear them out. There will be no Banes, and no mutas to help clear up these Marauders. The Medivacs are out of energy, but Dark is out of units. And Game 2 will go to ByuN. A relatively concise match, as ByuN just rips his way through. The mutas looking great right up until they didn't that drop a big commitment, but the mutas, technically you can split them into 2 different groups to try to hunt down Medivacs, but without them all in one place, they become so much less dangerous. So Dark getting caught out. And ByuN has tied up the series after only 90 minutes. Like and subscribe for my sanity. 1-1. Or on Oceanborn. One Rax expand, one Hatch expand. I do love Dark going mutas. He has yet to win a game with them. All right, he's lost 1.5. And even there, the muta's still doing quite well. It's just the economy isn't there. And I think that's most of the struggle with mutas as kind of a timing unit, is they cost so much. And I'm going to keep going back to in Legacy of the Void, which 9 years old now, relatively young compared to Brood War, but still. With starting with 12 workers means both sides get a large economy to start. Before, in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, you start with only 6 workers, which means taking even a second base is a pretty big commitment. The Spire and the mutas themselves still take the same amount of time relatively to build. So what happens is by the time those mutas can come out, by the time those mutas are built, while you might have more mutas, that is usually balanced out by the greater economy the Terran has. Like before, if you did a quick muta build on 2 or maybe 3 base in Wings of Liberty, you might be hitting Terran when they're just getting their second base set up. So the mutas will keep them contained, even if there's only 5 or 6. Whereas in Legacy of the Void, you might have 12 mutas, but they already got stim, combat shield, and enough Marines to easily push out on the map, even if it is a little dicey if they get caught by Lings and Banes. So that is why you don't really see mutas as much, as they're pretty high risk for a very, I'm gonna say it, I'm sorry, a very variable reward. Zergling speed complete... Oh my, he's just going for it. Oh my god. Dark. Gambling on the... He sends the Lings in, trying to bait the Hellions away. ByuN figures it out. But the Zerglings will get in. Many of the Zerglings still just sitting on the low guy. He doesn't want to commit too many so the Hellions don't get too much done. The Zerglings just get in. He leaves the door open. He thought he could hold, but the Zerglings are trickling through. If he gets that other Hellion, it's just going to be Zerglings versus SCVs. Well, there's not that many Zerglings. Viking on deck. 7 SCVs dead. Dark is building drones behind. So, as is customary, even though damage will be done, it's going to even out. Because ByuN has 3 command centers. And he has 111, Hellions, Starport. He's got everything he needs to kind of keep the pressure on Dark now. But Dark did some damage and does have a 3rd hatch. So he's going to be pumping out drones. So this attack hamstrings ByuN, but in doing so, Dark also slowed himself down. So here we are. I don't think Dark expected to win the game off that. Honestly, that went a little better than it could have gone. If ByuN had reacted slightly better. I think Dark gets a slight advantage, especially considering the map control. He's got the creep spread. He's going to be able to shut down. There's Cloak Banshee on the way, but one thing ByuN is going to be severely delayed on is his production. He's actually leaning into that. He's getting double engineering bay before getting any more barracks, which means he's playing for like 5 minutes from now. He's playing from when he has 5 to 8 barracks up. He has 3 bases, pumping Marines, and then he just runs, not really runs over, but kind of grinds him down like a steamroller with Marines. And if ByuN is able to get to that point safely, or relatively safely and quickly, it's almost impossible to deal with if you don't have Hive Tech. But Dark is going to have a lot of time to undercut that. He's going to have 4 going on 5 bases. He's going to have either a huge economy or plenty of units. There's going to be a window that he could slip plenty of Zerglings through, and maybe some Banelings if he gets creative. So that's what we look for in the next few minutes. Now the 1-1, about 60, a full minute advantage. Hydra Den this time around. Those Banshees are doing way too much damage. I just speechless. How does this keep happening? How do we not know the Banshees are coming? Brenda? He usually goes Marines, okay? Like, but these Banshees have again undercut a lot of Dark's supposed advantage. But then I look down and I see he has 83 drones. He plummets to an 18 worker lead. So Dark has more than enough larvae, he has more than enough bases, more than enough hatcheries to continue pumping these out. And ByuN, well, he's spinning up his production now. He's building 2 more factories. Not 1, but 2. It's going to be 3 factories. A bit more of a bio-curious sort of build. Very heavy on the mech. All right, experimenting with it, but still with plenty of Marines to complement. Oh, you look nice today. Not like that. Double drop heading out. No Hydras quite yet, but Dark needs to be building units now. In fact, ideally, already have plenty of them out. He does. 36 Lings, 10 Banes, more Banes on the way, a few dozen more Lings in production. Spots the drop in time to potentially intercept with Zerglings. Gonna lose a couple drones. Should be in time to save the hatch. Even if the Marines have... Oh, Combat Shield is so late. Yeah, he's had Stim. I don't know if he forgot it or just it was delayed or... That combat shield is a lot later than it probably should have been to actually fight this out. And now the Zerglings. 3 command centers on the way for ByuN. That's not necessarily a good thing. That means he was banking so much money. Dark just built... He has 100 Zerglings now. So this is that window. ByuN does not have 200 supply. He does not have all his production online. He does not have 2-2 upgrades. Dark, on the other hand, it's not going to get any better for him for a while. He's effectively maxed out. He's got 2-2, half a year away. He's got Hive Tech started, but there's no reason not to try to smash the 4th base. And if he thinks he's better off just defending and letting ByuN have 4 bases, well... Did he just... Oh no. I need to know. Freeing up supply. Somewhat undercut by, Dark accidentally detonated at least a dozen banelings there. They don't show up on units lost because they serve their purpose of following orders and dying. Well, that's certainly not ideal. It's not a huge mistake, but it certainly is a noticeable one. That's an emotional damage mistake right there. I don't even know what he was trying to do. Maybe morph more Banes and he was using grid keys or something? He was clearly trying to avoid them hitting the rocks, but 150 Zerglings. ByuN's about to have 2-2. He's not going to have it for the very start of the fight, and that might make all the difference. Where are the rest of the Marines? Where's the rest of the units? The siege tanks are helping to hold the line, but enough Lings and Banes are getting into the 3rd. Where are they? That's it. There's nothing. There's a few units at the back, but Dark overruns the field. He overruns the 3rd. He pierces in between the natural and the 4th base, which is a planetary. And ByuN will survive. He still has 72 SCVs. This is madness. Adrenal glands on the way. ByuN, I thought he was dead. He has enough production to refill. And oh my god, he dropped 8 mules. We did have 3 command centers. The Mule Cliff. The Grand Canyon of economic despair. As Terran superiority. The system is somewhat rigged as no other race has mules, which just signals their inferiority. Dark is going to refill again. He's got 170 things. This is... Dark is going to lose like 5,000 Zerglings in this series. And that might be a lowball estimate. He's refilled again. Dark does have... Oh, he's waiting for adrenal glands. He's got Vipers. The checkerboard depots to defend, but here comes another wave. And the Vipers getting involved. Blinding caught on some of the tanks. Zerglings streaming through, but the depots are doing their job of limiting the attack angle. The Vipers negating some of the tanks. Banelings on top of the SCVs, but this time around ByuN holds. Dark plummets 100 supply. Is there enough larvae? He builds 94 more Lings, but this time around ByuN, the army supply held. It's Dark who's jumping off the cliff here. 9 Hydras on the way. 110 Zerglings. And he's still not maxed. Oh my. He's gonna mix the Hydras and the creep on the doorstep, but I think now the cost has been ByuN's investment. That's what we'll call it. ByuN's investment in those extra command centers is now paying off. It was maybe a testament to how much money he was banking at the time, but now it certainly skewed the calculations here for Dark. But he's coming in for another round. Zerglings getting shot up to the surface by the siege tanks. The Marines are microing back. The Hydra's on the back line. They have their upgrades. He denies the 5th base. Dark has his entire half of the map. He's playing 300 supply Zerg. He's got 84 drones. The Hydras, he's just now, both sides are finishing 3-3. So the upgrades are going to be even enough. How many factories? He's got 6 factories. The Industrial Revolution being added in. As ByuN realizes siege tanks are high-value units. Adding... Is that a reactor in a tech lab? Hellbats, Blue Flame, Ultra Cavern is on the way for Dark as we get dragged into another dramatic macro game. But the Vipers are joining up this time around. ByuN out of position. Blinding Cloud looking good. Throws it on the ramp. The Marines are forced forward. Banelings trickling in, doing enough damage to blunt the effect. Drags a tank down. Will finish it off alongside the Planetary. And Dark will refill. Does he have the larva? Not really. 7 hatcheries, but never enough larva. Could use 2 or 3 macro hatches, I guess. I think he's injecting pretty well as well. Hasn't actually mined any of the gas that is natural. Will that become relevant? I can't believe we're doing this again. Oh my. Oh, the Zerglings. Overrunning the tanks. There never seems to be enough bio in order to keep the tanks from getting overrun. The ghosts are being added in. An orbital command being targeted by the Hydras, but Dark doesn't overcommit. 600 Zerglings. Grab your emotionals. Emotional support Zerglings. Need emotional support themselves. Has entire broods of Zerglings dying in each wave. Hydras, Lings, Banes. Dark does not have the gas for a big ultra swing. So that's still on the back burner here. ByuN is holding on to the 5th. He's on defense yet again, as Dark is coming to knock on his door for the umpteenth time. EMPs miss the mark. The Vipers have the energy. Blinding Cloud used, negating many of the siege tanks. There's not too many towards the 3rd, only half a dozen, which is a low number, I guess. But this time around, Dark is thrown back. As the army gets more complex for ByuN, it gets more difficult to dismantle, as the Ghosts and the Hellbats and the siege tanks are coming together. And Dark is having a lot of trouble prying them apart. Dark expanding. On the other side of the map, Hellbat drop. Drop with a strong asterisk there.
Hell, it's about time.
Hmm. 3 more command centers on the way for ByuN. Dark is wrapping around towards the north side. Looking for even more. Another wave of Hydraling Bane. The Ghosts backstopping. The Hydraling Bane has stopped working a while ago, but he's still going for it. ByuN. Superficial damage. 17 SCVs. Loses only 1 siege tank and 1 ghost when it comes to meaningful units. At this point, honestly, 60 SCVs might be too many. He has so many mules. He has 6 orbital commands. Well, he's not maxing out, so I don't think it's a real issue. Dark, another wave. 800 Zerglings. ByuN trying to survive the siege with siege tanks of his own. Dark is now has hatcheries across the rest of the map. Every base that ByuN doesn't have actively taken is taken by Dark, with a hatchery completed. Even if it might not be in the exact perfect spot. 5 infestors on the way. Dark is towing the line. Dark does not have money in the bank. He's under 1k. ByuN is not maxed out, but he has equal army supply. And we can tell, from our perspective, his army is better. If it's all together, the siege tanks and the ghosts and the medevacs and the hellbats, all the units that are incredibly cost-effective, supply efficient. But Dark is wielding. He refuses to show weakness. And that's why ByuN is playing so far back and so defensively. Is Dark keeps acting like he has 5k in the bank. Because if he ever stops playing like this, then ByuN will start to take much better trades out on the map. And I think ByuN is figuring it out. He's realizing, you really don't have that much, do you? It felt like ByuN took a lot of damage earlier. It was mostly to SCVs, to Marines. He wasn't spending that much gas. It's about equal in gas loss, but Dark is 8 broods, 3 Thors. Another 20-minute game. Dark have mercy. No neural parasite. And we've got at least one more game after this. Don't you worry. That's how math works. Much to my dismay. The broods raining down. Gets a fungal. Chops down some ghosts. The siege tanks lending an assist. Oh my god, those tanks getting knocked up. The ghosts. Trying to line up shots, but it's just, he's not really landing any. Dark keeps chaining the fungals. Now there's enough shots. Ooh, knocks out a couple broods. Thors are here as well. He's got +3 mech weapons. There's only a couple queens at the back. There's not enough broods to really threaten the Thors at the moment. He has to rebuild or look for another angle. Dark is mining. How many? He's got 39 larvae, but most of it is at this base. I don't think he has hotkeyed in big fungal, but there's nothing to follow it up. The medevacs are out of energy, but the broodlord count is too damn low. Oh no, is it time? Don't do it, Dark. Don't do it. Oh god. Oh, 7 ultralisks, and then as many zerglings as he can build. That was the last play. All right, I don't know if Shakespeare would approve of this one, but it is certainly a play to make. Well, Shakespeare did like tragedies, so... Oh. 7 ultras. Dark has no gas in the bank. Somehow, again, dead even. Army supplies, 117 to 118 in favor of ByuN. The ultras, though, he's gonna get one big fight with them before ByuN turtles up again. But ByuN is all clumped up here. The ultras are kind of weirdly positioned. Blinding Cloud works both ways. He's got to be careful with the hydras, but the ultras on top of the Thors. The Thors struggling in the Blinding Cloud. Where are the rest of the ultras? They're on the 4th base, chewing through the siege tanks and the planetary. They will get a hold of it. The ghosts are chasing down the hydras and the ultra army to the north side, but Dark has more space on the map to work with. The ghosts come down and actually get a little too close. They realize they have cloaking devices and are able to gun down the rest of the ultras here. Clean it up. Dark rebuilding. He forgot ultra speed. Banelings on the way. ByuN still has the army to beat, but Dark keeps forcing the issue by limiting the economy. It's costing him so much. 977 Zerglings. Another 1,000 Zergling game. With the kill on this planetary, he will lose Zergling number 1,000. Alright, get like a little... give him a medal or something. Or, I don't know, like a thumbtack that they stab into his chest and say, "Stop killing the Zergling!" 1,004. And we're not done. There's still plenty of money on the map to throw Zerglings at. And ByuN is barely mining. Oh, that's way more literal than I thought. He's got 100 income in minerals here. Dark may have done it again. He may have ground him down to the point he just can't build anymore. But you can't let him mine at all, because the moment he's able to land a command center anywhere nearby, he can drop half a dozen, even more mules. So Dark is towing the line. He's had the income advantage for over most of the last 10 minutes. Besides a small mule canyon there. It's a changeling on the minimap. The Ling Bang coming in for another round. Dark doesn't want to risk taking that fight that allows ByuN to turn and take out his bases. So he's, well, actually found the angle. He's up against the wall. The ghosts are trapped here. He'll be able to evacuate 4 of them. That siege, he's fighting it to the siege tanks, but it's just the siege tanks. But just the siege tanks are still too much. ByuN somehow holds. Neural Parasite on the way. We saw the Neural Parasite on Thor's turn game number 1.1. The Zerglings are everywhere. There's just nothing. Like, he's running out of options. I feel like I've said that 74 times. Please don't count. But the units are getting whittled down. The Dark still has Hydras. But the Cloak, the detection, oh, he gets the fungal to interrupt. Just barely. But he still has to fight the Ghosts. And the army supply is almost even here. The armies, the thing is, the Ghosts actually counter the Hydras and Lings. He needs the Banelings, he needs the Fungals. But he should be able to get them. The siege tanks on the low ground are required here. Might be able to pick up the Ghosts. He gets them out. Somehow makes a save on most of the Ghosts. But I don't know if he can break through the reinforcements. Dark is still mining. Asterisk. The hatchery lives, and every mineral and every gas, he's trying to get another one. The infestor count is too damn high. Neural Parasite is done. The siege tanks on the low ground. But there's not units on the ground. He's making more Banes. He's going to be able to get this base, which is most of Dark's mining. He has no other fresh mineral patches. How does it come to this? The Hellbat drop. This one, for real. And he gets a good scan, and some great snipes, and more snipes, and an EMP, and he negates most of the energy, and even at 50 supply. What? No! No! He taps, what? ByuN! Dark! Me! You! Insert down an adjective! And a punctuation mark at the end. What? No. The EMPs. It was that close? Dark is long distance mining. I don't know. Was it? He lost. And this is why, even though it felt like Dark was playing kind of timid near the end, because all it takes is one fight and you run out. There were 17 Zerglings and 4 Infestors. Against 5 Ghosts, 5 Tanks, 3 Hellbats. He can rebuild some units, but he lost the critical mass. I can't. After 26.5 minutes. The supply is sliding downwards. No, not even offering a draw. How unsporting. ByuN with 50 to 84 supply. ByuN with 50. We'll bring it to match point as we go into game 5, 2-1. Well, game 4. 2-1 ByuN. And that's why you don't give up. Dark, maybe you could have fought it a little further. And you know, that might be the motto of this series. But you don't fight that army with 16 Zerglings and 0 energy infestors. You don't do it. Oh my god, but you know what you do? Is you get into Amphion on match point and you go pool first. Because this is definitely a map you want to take the initiative with. And ByuN, of course, did not SCV scout. But I want to take this time, before the Zerglings get across the map, to thank the Korean StarCraft 2 League put on by Dave Testa and Chicken Man. This is week 50. So if you've enjoyed these games, if you've enjoyed possibly the longest, especially best of 5 I've ever seen, and the effort the players put in, it is a crowd-funded tournament. The Patreon should be in the description. Jimmy, make sure. Wake up. Wake up. I don't. Oh my god. Well, the Zerglings. So the Patreon should be in the description. The Zerglings are in the base. And now we're out of time to sell out. Like and subscribe. Thank you for making it this far. As Dark is looking to even things up. So this is not an all-in strategy. It certainly will dictate the pace of the next few minutes of the game. As the Reaper has to come back. And the Zerglings were able to delay the command center. Reaper heads across. And that is something of a macro opener out of Dark. But I do think... Did he even kill an SCV? Oh, no. Ideally, you get at least a couple SCVs on top of delaying. He's got 2 command centers on the way. ByuN knows, based on all of the timings here, it's very unlikely there's going to be a quick follow-up. So he can get away with that 3rd command center. He sees the drone count down here. He knows those Lings didn't have speed, though they will soon enough. Brenda and revenge! Get off my creep! Brenda, breathe. It's been a tough night, Susan. It's been tough. I know. I've been here too. Alright, you're not here alone. Stop taking all the credit. We're not doing this again. We're not doing it. It's been 2 hours. Viking will be the initial choice. Zergling speed, poke it in towards the natural. It finally gets an SCV. Oh, Viking outflanks the Obi. Dark, only 1 OV on the way. Now got a couple. ByuN. Clearing things out. I think on this map where you have the close air positions, if you can deny the vision for medevac drops or really just threaten things like medevac drops or whatever's coming out of the starport, you make it so much harder for Zerg to commit to anything. As those queens need to at least be thinking about what could come in towards the main as time goes on. It gets extra awkward as you expand away from one another. Double NG Bay, double Evo Chamber. Despite the early shenanigans, it looks like once again we're going into a macro game here in game 4.1. Viking and Queens. Hey! Oh, the Liberator is what dragged him back, and that allows the Viking... Wait, the Overlord was saved. Liberator comes back in. Playing hard to get, as always. Hellions. Heading around. Liberator will be pushed away. Hellions not going to commit. Dark taking a 4th base. And ByuN lands his third on the pocket location. Past the mineral wall. We'll see how that plays out. Looks like Dark has a slight advantage. Almost identical timing on the upgrades for both sides. Infestation pit. +1. +1. ByuN. Single medevac drop. Really trying to use that lack of vision from Dark. And comes in. Does he have stim? Oh, ByuN just... What do I want? Marines and medevacs. When do I want it? As soon as possible. All the time. Chilling in the corner. No Spire this time for Dark. A Hive at 7 minutes. Rushing towards Hive Tech. He's got 69 drones, which is a nice enough economy to work off of here. Well, Dark, he knows about the third command center, so he can make some pointed assumptions on where it's been taken. He's opening up the rocks. He's opening up the mineral wall. There's a lot of terrain features that Zerg would rather not deal with, and Terrans are big fans of. They put the eye in terrain. The upgrades are finishing. You might ask which ones, to which I answer yes. And that's the trigger for the Marines to start pulling theirs in the main. Down goes 1, 2, 3. Overlord hunting here. Queens holding. And slurps up a few more. Things and Banes crash into the front. And Dark able to eat up the Hellbats. Barely any survivors. Dark wins the fight on both fronts. Medevac driven out into the corner. And the half-hearted bio push now taken out. But the center line base here at the 9 o'clock being taken. I don't know if Dark's going to scout that early enough to really deal with it. We'll see if he decides to attack along that angle. But if that gets to be a planetary, this could make it very difficult to dislodge, especially considering how easy it is for ByuN to send a medevac or two out towards the other side of the map. So, divide and conquer sort of strategy. Yep, there we go. Double medevac drop. The Zerglings at the front. The depot pyramid to wall them off. They're just nibbling on it. So, without any built-in anti-air, Dark is going to struggle to both defend these drops, supply... I think supply efficiency is going to be the key here. Not so much the cost efficiency, but you can only have so much army supply. And being able to move it from one side of the map to the other is absolutely critical here, as ByuN demonstrates by easily taking out a hatchery. Loses a medevac in the main, but even then, an annoying position to dislodge with the Zerglings. And the double drop still continuing forward. Plenty of Lings and Banes to deal with it. But the planetary fortress is completed, as the Zergling will scout, much to its dismay. The double medevacs. Dropping out the Marines. Melee attacks and Carapace level 2, actually significantly ahead of ByuN's timing. Widowmines, though, on the field. And the minefield, well, Widowmine's doing a lot of damage, but the Baneling's hitting beforehand. Does he have Drilling Claws? Indeed he does. So they will remain cloaked, have to be dealt with here. Adrenal Glands is done, and there's an upgrade advantage for the Zerglings. So Dark is just clearing the field. He's clearing them. ByuN has not made any real progress here besides clearing the creep. A double drop, still struggling, because if you don't have the upgrade advantage, suddenly the Zerglings find some real success against the Marines. Now 2-2's done, which means those drops are threatening again. ByuN, he does have 4 bases with some gold patches in there, so not struggling too much in order to max out. And he's constantly threatening this angle. There's a fusion core, but unlikely to be much more than Liberator range, considering who ByuN is and how he lives his life. Working through. Are there ultras on the... There's 154 Zerglings. Oh my god. Now the Zerglings at the front are spotted. Dark is ready to bust down the door. What is there to deal with it? No Widow Mines. Down go the depots in the Banelings. Hello. Goodbye, SCVs. 9 SCVs down. The Widow Mines can burrow. So can the Banelings. Yes, they do have burrow done. Important to note. Mines. Handling the Zerglings. The double drop still working its way around 3 command centers in production for ByuN, as seems to be customary. Dark, maxed out, money in the bank. Here we go again. Both players. We don't have a Ghost Academy yet out of ByuN. Dark continually defending his natural and trying to find some success attacking into ByuN's. But as time goes on, it gets harder and harder to find the unit composition. Some Baneling mines, quite nice. Take a bite, leaves 1 Baneling. There's Widow Mines in there. They hit the Terrans as well. But the Medivacs head the other way. Gonna take out this center base. And a massive drop in the main. And a big enough drop over on the right. Meanwhile, the Widow Mines blunting the force. 21 kills. The Hive itself. Transfuse. It's enough. Or is it? Oh, he's trying to get it. Meanwhile, the Zerglings into the natural. Many of the Medivacs taken out on the way back across. And, oh no, he almost got the infantry armor level 3. That would be a huge win there for Dark. But Dark's still doing quite well. ByuN has refilled, but this base under fire. The drops in the main, he takes out the Hive. That means no more Vipers, at least for quite a while. This base is going to be abandoned. ByuN has another base down the center. Widow Mines chasing down. Liberators forcing drones to abandon their posts. And as time goes on, ByuN is starting to stabilize again. He might be supply blocked, but he's supply blocked at 195 supply, and that's the last Viper. 100 Zerglings. Are we going to see another 1,000 Zerglings dead? It's only been 300 so far. The engineering bay may burn, but it already finished the +3 armor. He's trying to target the Ultra Cavern. He may just get it. And oh no. A lair restarts. Parasitic bomb from the last Viper. But he's back to Zerglings. That is the Zerglings and Banelings and I guess technically Infestors. Well, Infestors, I was about to say Zerglings and Banelings and Swarm Hosts, but I don't think Swarm Hosts will make an appearance. The Infestor is much more likely. Ghosts on the way. Mass Changeling actually technically can trigger the Widow Mines if they haven't yet morphed into whatever they're looking at. 3-3 now done for Dark as he's consuming the lair that he's building, so I don't know if that's the greatest long-term move, but the Bioarmy's back in the main. The Evo Chambers are already outlived their usefulness, but a single Widow Mine can maybe be dragged into the army. Meanwhile, the Ultras, Lings, and Banes with the Bioarmy's able to gun down more than enough. Ultras heading towards the natural. Massive Bane Mine. But ByuN spots it just in time, and he's able to get the hit. Or get the scan and deal with it. The Ultras, another Widow Mine, does terrible, terrible damage. Dark is doing huge economic damage. The Hero-Lesk up the ramp. The transfuses are not good enough. The Queens are trying to break into their own base, but the Widow Mine recharges. More Zerglings have burrowed. And Dark is plummeting in supply, and he has no tact with which to deal with anything. As ByuN steps down from Dark's main and tries to claim what could be the final game. 40 SCVs dead, which leaves, oh my god, Dark doesn't have any tech at all. He lost the spawning pool. He's been gutted. Banelings have to unburrow after being scanned. There are... ByuN may not know how bad it is right now for Dark, who has 2K 600 in the bank. He's trying to rebuild. His lair is already bruised. There are still Ultras, and the last Viper. ByuN was supply blocked. Mass changelings coming across. Dark still has enough drones. He needs to have anything to he's building. He's building corruptors in the 6 seconds before the Spire gets taken out. And the Bio Army, the Liberators, a Venn diagram of freedom. The Ultras caught between a rock and a hard place. And after, I don't even care how long at this point, ByuN will take a 3-1 victory in 5 games. Through all the fire and fury and madness, as these two, the greatest rivals potentially in StarCraft 2 history, they don't write another chapter, they write another damn book. Maybe a multi-book series and 6 seasons in a movie. At least a movie, oh my. And not a short one at that. But ByuN holds. And in a heartbreaking, after Dark fought for 2 games for 1 victory, ByuN takes 2 very tough ones. And it's over. Well, you made it to the end. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Make sure to check out the Korean StarCraft 2 League. The info in the description. It's your support that keeps this league going. Gives us these... The fact that these players are willing to commit. Like, I don't see going for a draw. If you were trying to get the series over with and get a payday, you don't say, let's do it again, and then play another 30-minute game. Are you kidding me? Like... there's hundreds of dollars on the line, but both of them have won over. Dark has won over $1 million. ByuN has won 700,000, and they are willing to put up not 1 but 2 games for a single point in a weekly-ish tournament. Well, not some passion across the board. I hope you enjoyed. If you got the means of motivation, Patreon, YouTube membership, like and subscribe. Thank you again. Hope to see you next time. Maybe take a breather. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.